don't work out with them, right? And so you constantly trying to fill this void with all these different men, and you don't even know what the real problem is. And most of the time it's because you ain't had no daddy, or you seen your mama
being
a thought or looking for love that she ain't never get. I think Cash Out, when she just was on with Shannon Sharp, said her mama had 5 kids by the age of 21.
By the age of 21?
Yeah. And how many baby daddies? Because I guarantee they probably ain't all the same. So that's what I'm saying. You just constantly trying to fill voids out here. Yeah. And if you didn't have a father or a young girl, we ain't even talking about the daddies not being in the little boys' lives. What do you think that do to a dad not being in his daughter's life?
That's actually what I was going to try to get on in the beginning of the video. But yeah, because, you know, how your dad was there, you know, when your mom wasn't able to show up for you. And then growing up, him kind of not being able to, I don't know, be emotionally prepared for what a woman or you becoming a woman, you know, would entail. Whereas it probably was time for your mom to step up and she didn't. And where he couldn't understand. I think that's where the paths got crossed with y'all, and now y'all kind of like ain't cool no more. That's what I was gonna try to get at, because it wasn't all her that was on board. It was him too. But I guess you could segue into that to kind of close out the video. You said it's important for, you know, men and fathers to be in their daughters' lives, not just their sons. Do you feel, you know, your dad being there helped you, and towards the end, how did it hinder you? The relationship falling apart.
I mean, yeah, I think it was helpful in a lot of ways, because I was able to see what a man in a household looked like. You know what I'm saying? Because my dad was very much the leader in the house. They worked well together, I would say, in bringing me up. But I just feel like my dad, I think by him being the youngest sibling of his like family, he'd have more wisdom versus my mom, because my mom was the oldest. You know? And
so he got put up on game where she had a game already.
Exactly. And it didn't really work out for her. So I feel like for him being in my life and him being in my brother's life was very major, because even if my dad wasn't like as active with me, the fact that he was there and he led an example, right? So I think if anything, the father being in the house, because most of the time that's their role. The mother in a daughter's life is there to nurture, show her how to be a young lady, teach her things, and, you know what I'm saying, mold her so that she can be, you know, excel at being a woman later on in life. But the father's role is to lead an example for the daughter, so that the daughter, when it's time for her to have experiences with males, she know what disrespect look like, she know what love look like, she can distinguish all of those different feelings, versus you not having that, and you kind of got to fumble through all of these different people until you finally maybe really figure out what true love is. And then most of the time people don't even really know what it is, because it be staring them right in their face and they have no idea. You know?
So that's what you're saying. That's why it's important for those women that, you know, get drove off a cliff or have 5 kids by 21. That's what they were missing.
Yeah.
That example.
Yeah. That example. And that's not to say that a lot of girls don't have fathers, but I think some fathers they miss the mark because they want to just spoil their daughters. Like they want to, that's baby girl. I can't never tell her no, and that's the wrong thing to do. Because you have to show them tough love just like you would show a boy, because that way when they do meet a man, there's no sense of entitlement. You know what I'm saying? Because however you treat your daughter is what she's gonna look for in a significant other.
So, okay, let me ask you this then, because Drew got some type of entitlement because I do kind of like spoil her. That's like baby girl, or whatever. And now we got another one coming up. What do you feel like I can do better and to ensure that she don't grow up with you the way you just said?
You gotta say no. And you can't always give in to their emotional state, you know, because they learn that, you know, especially young. They use their emotions to get what they want. And if they master that at a young age, they're going to take that with them into adulthood.
So that's that cooing.
Yeah. Yeah. I had that too, because me and my dad was like, that's my ace. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I was so close. I was the closest to him over my brothers. So I had that because I was baby girl. You know, I couldn't. But see, the difference between my dad was I could do wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like I got on punishment and I got checked when I wasn't doing what I needed to do. And I think that's what kind of made me into a well-rounded person. So I learned how to have respect for males. You know, I didn't, and that's how I am with Drew, you know, like, because I noticed her doing that with her brother. And then he'd give in to her because she whining and stuff. And I told him, you're going to teach her that behavior. So you don't give in to her just because her feelings is hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
She don't, me and Champ both, we don't allow her to just get whatever she want, but we are a little soft on her.
And that's not to say you're supposed to be hard on girls, but they do require some kind of tough love. Because if you don't, they will grow up with that entitled attitude, especially if they pretty and you don't check it. You know, it's just and I think that's what has happened to girls who have dads. They've been rotten ever since they was little, and then they just grow up with this entitlement attitude. But when you were saying the hindrance or our relationship now has more to do with the fact that he doesn't check my mind for her poor behavior. And it's like you just kind of let her do or say whatever when you know that it's harmful to our relationship. And you want me to be the bigger person and try to, and I'm not doing that.
Yeah, to alleviate his problems at home.
Yeah.
I think that's not being a responsible or emotionally intelligent person, because you're willing to sacrifice one so you can get in good with the other. That's just not being a good leader, you know.
But I also think it's because he has allowed her to become manipulative. And so what happens is, in order to keep the peace, that's what men do.
At home, anyway.
That's what they do. All right, look, whatever I gotta do to keep the peace, that's what I'm gonna do, because I know you're gonna make this hard. And I don't wanna be stressed out. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's for me, he's like, you're the mature one. You address the situation and clear the situation up, and just because it'll be easier for you and it'll be easier for me. But I'm like, nah, because for one, that ain't my wife, and that's not my job to check her. That's your job.
So that dynamic, it has driven a wedge between y'all, and that's the sacrifice he's willing to make.
Well, yeah, that's his wife. And that's a sacrifice he should make. That's his wife. That's his partner.
That's just the end of that.
Yeah.
And you're okay with that?
I don't have a choice but to be okay with it. Because, like I always tell you, if I'm out here foul, don't let me be out here foul. Check that.
I wouldn't.
But I'm not saying that you would. I'm just saying, like, if I'm doing something that is foul, and it's like, if I'm in a delusional state of mind, it's like, nah, babe, check that. But he let her be delusional because it's like, man, I've been married to her for 40 years. I'm tired. I don't want to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? And women know that about their husband. And so they become children. And then they manipulate situations and do little crazy stuff because they know he tired of it and he ain't gonna check it no more because he burnt out. Now, if this type of stuff was going on when I was younger, he would have checked it because he would have had energy for it. He ain't got no energy for it. He has maxed out.
Well, the importance of fathers is the topic today. And we can do a million videos on that because I'm a father and I know exactly how important it is to me to show up. And I didn't have a father. I can't say that. I had a father. He wasn't around a lot, you know? And so I didn't
And he
fault
also had how many children?
He had quite a few.
About how many women?
Quite a few.
Yeah.
So yeah. But that was that era, man.
That ain't an era.
That was
That is not an era.
Okay, but look, I'm not giving them no excuses. It is what it is.
It sound like it.
No, I wasn't. I just said I wasn't the type to, fault him for it.
I'm not saying shit.
It'd be like when he come get me, I was happy, to be around.
Right.
But looking back at it, it's kind of like, yeah, that was kind of messed up. He wasn't around to show me shit. But my mom, she didn't jump from dude to dude. That was later in her life that she did that. But in the beginning, it was basically Riddle. You know what I'm saying? He was there, taught me principles or whatever. He stepped up. I guess that'll be the next thing. Talking about stepdads, how they telling dudes not to be stepdads.
Yeah, that's big.
That's simping out. When really that really structured my life. You know what I mean? Gave me something to look forward to. Being a man that could do things. And whereas my dad wasn't there to show me that. So I can appreciate him, even though he was a slime ball, like, after a while. But I can appreciate the good shit, because it was up to me not to take the slime ball shit on, beating women and all that type of shit. That's crazy how you can still say you took something good from somebody that used to beat your mom. But
yeah, that's like a psychosis thing.
It
though.
is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when it's my turn to sit on that side of the camera, I guess we'll get that out. But I appreciate your talk today. We probably can go on and on, but I'm not gonna make this a super long video. It's already kind of long. But let's keep this going because I think the dialogue is good, and I think people are gonna be able to relate or chime in on what they think. Any final thoughts about today's topic?
No, like you said, I think it's just something that we need to dive into more. And I'm excited to dive into it more because, especially for our community, there's a lot of things that we are not addressing and we spending too much time on. And I'm a get to the roots type person. I don't like to go straight to a solution until we know why things are happening the way that they're happening. And so that's my focus, is to get down to the root of why these issues are constantly coming up in our community, in our families, and how we can change them once we understand what they are.
Okay. Like it. That's what we're going to conclude on. Again, thanks again. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Drop a comment. Tell us what you think, what we should talk about later, or what you feel about this topic. Deuces.
Hey, you ain't gonna fall.